Okay, guys, so we are recording now. So what I was talking about earlier was the basically the configuration, right? The Next.js application, then database running in port 5432, Next.js running on port 3000. If you have to write, let's say route, right? With the port 3000, then you should be writing something like this: http colon slash slash localhost 3000. That's the route, right, for the Next.js. And for database is 5432 port. So it's localhost colon 5432. And what we put yesterday in our .env file here. See, this one, right? So this is the connection string to the database. Okay, this is the database name, schema public, and then something like this here, right? Postgres. These are just the connection string, basically like where you want to connect, right? So you will find little different for the MySQL. When you get link from the MongoDB, you'll get something different, right? I mean, right, normally there will be username, password, and all that information with the routes where it will be connecting, right? Okay, so next thing is we we're gonna today we're gonna look at the two things, right? One, how to write simple API, right? Next.js, and the second we're gonna set up Redux UI. That two things we're gonna do, right? So first, let's look at the API. So in Next.js, we just have to create a folder with the name API. So inside app, you add this API folder. Now you might have, let's say this project might have many things, many, right? Maybe there is a users, there is a product, there is a, like employee, right? Many table means schema, right? Many schema. So schema means, let's go back here, and for example, I have one schema, right, for user. So I want to do the CRUD operation for this user, right? User. So what I will do is, uh, you know in API, I mean, even here in the app, right, you can have a user. For example, you're gonna have a user, right? Users like this, users. So inside this user, you want to display, right? So maybe display. So let's say you can, let's say user slash view, right? View. So you can add like something like a view, okay? And inside here, you're gonna have page, right? Page dot tsx, like that. So you can call it uh, users page, right? That is okay. So if you want to display users here, how many users you have in the database, you can display here, right? If you want to add user, let's call it maybe new folder, right? Inside the user, you're gonna have new, right? New folder. So user slash new will take you to the form, right, where you're gonna add the user. Page dot tsx. So let's call it new user page, right? Something like that. So here you can call it h1 form to add the new user in database. For example, okay, just imagine, right? This here you're gonna have form. You see, so how my route gonna work, right? Localhost 3000 slash users. So inside the user there is nothing, right? But no page. But if I go slash new, I will take this one. If I go slash view, I'm gonna take this page, right, in the browser. So we will look at that later, right? That one thing. But now I need to work with the API to basically add new user, right? New user. So I will just change this name. Okay, let me make it users. That's right. Fine. So okay, so now users, so you can write the folder structure here, right, similar to this one also, I mean, you can put it directly or you can make it similar to this, right? So I want to post something, I want to add, right, new user. So I can decide what to do, right? I can either leave it like this is okay, or I can make something, similar to my route, right? I'm gonna add, let's add it new, right? And then inside will be this route. So new has this route, right? Fine. So let's do the first API function. So that will be export, right? You have to export function and the post, because we're gonna create something new, right? Okay. So you have to write async here. This function will be async. When you deal with API, make sure your functions are async, right? Asynchronous function. Good. Now we need to see what happened, right? From here, I'm gonna send some data. So localhost 3000 API, right? And it will be API and slash users slash what was the new, right? New. And inside there, I'm gonna send the data, right? And data will be sent to the body. So it will be something like same like this, but let's clean that up. And you're gonna, what are the field we need? Name, right? Name. Remember the schema. You have to remember the schema, right? Let's go check here. So the schema, if I click schema, you're gonna see here. So I need to send this name, email, and password. These three information. Okay. So name colon, and then I'll call it uh, maybe whatever, right? John David, and this is object JSON file, right? And then you're gonna have name, email, like this, right? And email can be, you know john@gmail.com, and then you're gonna have password, right? So password, make sure this name matches, right, all that according to your schema. And password can be string 1 2 3 4 5 6, like that. So see, this is a JSON file, body JSON file, and then this is the post, right? You must select the uh, API, I mean, what method, right, you're going to use. So these are the method, right, of API functions. So post. So when you do that, this is the front end. Okay, this is the client side, right? So client can have form where they will submit, like they will fill out the name, email, password, and submit, right? Send. So it will go in this route. It will look for this route, localhost 3000 API users new. So in that new, right, here, API users new, right, and I have a route. So it will look for the post function, and then it will process that data, right? So let's write the function to process our data. So how are you going to receive the data, right? Basically, okay, so import, you have to write something, import next request and next response, right? Response from the next server, you need to get that. Also, we need to import our Prisma client, Prisma, right? Look at this. I need this one because this Prisma has the like scan copy, right, of all our database management. Remember Prisma client we created yesterday here, client. This is the instance, right? This is what we have to get, this Prisma. So this client has all the information about our schema and connection to the database, and it will take care all the work for us, right? So how? Let's try now. So I just import that object. Fine. So first what I will do is, every time when you're writing the API function like this, right, you have to call the request now. So request like this is a request function, and call the uh, type checking, right, next request. So next request, good. So this request now, right, can have access to the body, the data which we're going to send. Like we're going to send the data from the here, this data, to localhost 3000. It's going to access how? So const, let's call it body, right, whatever data coming is the body, await, and then you now you call the request dot json like that. That's it. So now this is gonna have that data. Okay, we can, let's console log, right, and see what happened. Console dot log body, right, body. So this is see, every page, right, every page is server. So if I'm gonna send the data, I should get here, right, and this should console log, because this is server side. It should display some data here in the terminal here in the server, right, because this is server page. Okay, until and unless you put it here like use client, right, use client. But if you make it client, then this not gonna work. Prisma work only in server, no in the client, right? So, and also our API only works in server. So let's try now, right? I will minimize this so that you can see side by side here. I just want to show, let's send the data and see if we're getting something. Send. So we get some error, right? So let's see what is the error. I mean, see, there was some action happened, right? But there is a lot of error, so I don't know what is that. Okay, so there is some error, but you can look at now, right? You can see the information here. The body, look at that data, right? No response is returned from the route handler. Yeah, I mean, we have not returned any response, anything, right, from this route. But you see the data, we received the body already here, and it even display, right? But we still need to, do some checking, send some response and all that, right? Because we did not send any response from here, and that is not a good. So this data need to go somewhere, right? So we will check if no body, right? If there is no data, then just return the response. So just return next response dot json, right, like that. And here we're gonna say maybe error, uh, no data created, right? Created, something like that. And then status, give it maybe 400, or yeah, I believe that is the error. But let's say if there is a data, right? So if there is a data, then this will become false. So it will not do anything. Just go next line. If there is nothing, if there is no data, then only this will return. Okay, if there is data, then now it's time to create data, right? So now see how you're gonna send this data to the database. So Prisma gonna do that work, right? So Prisma dot create, where is, see, Prisma will give you all this, right? First you have to call which uh, schema, where you want to send the data, inside the user table, user, right? Look at this. If I do dot u, see, I'm getting that user table dot. Now what action, what function you want to do? Count how many data are there, create many, whatever, right? Delete, update, whatever, you can find many, all that, right? So I just want to create the new data inside the database. And now, right, you have to pass this object, and then you call the data, and then there you're gonna structure your data in the object. How? The first one is name, right? Name, and you get the name from body dot name. Okay, and then email, right? Email. So that will be body dot email. and then password, right? Password. So it giving me all the suggestions because it knows already. Okay, body dot password. Fine. So these are the three data, right? Basically, we just added in this object, that is the data stored in this property data, and done. The only thing is you have to make sure await. You have to await this because we have async function, right? So any work inside happens asynchronously. So you have to await that. Means don't move to the next line until this is done, right? Maybe it will take some time to fetch the data from the client, right? So just await until we get the body, right? Then you check here. If that is false, you go here, create the now, right? Because now it means we have the body data inside the body, which we saw earlier like this, right? Name, email, password. So that's why body, this is the body. Okay, this is the body stored in the body variable. So body dot name, body dot email, body dot password, we get that. And await, right? So what I will do, I'm going to store this. It will return something, right? So cons, let's call it user equal to here, right? So it will create that data in the table, but we're going to store in the user also. And now return, just return the response, right? Next response dot uh, JSON, and I think we just return this user, right? That whatever is that user return by this Prisma creation. Okay, I mean whatever this Prisma will create in the table, right? Stored also here, and that's what we're gonna send to the client in the Postman, right? So now user, and then let's send the status also, right? The status of 201. I think that is create the user. Okay, yeah, so done. So now we go to Prisma. That is all I believe we have to do. So see, next week when we start our project, right, this data need to be checked, validation. Okay, that will be done by the Zod, right? Zod and all that data validation. So we will explore, because my goal is to make this project slow but explore every steps, right? Like anything extra we need to learn, we're going to take time, learn that one and use that same time. Okay, so there are few things, maybe not much, right? Like validation things pending, and the uh, I think the next auth, right? Authentication. Okay, so that is the two things still I have not talked about. I will just explore that during the projects. We're going to learn that and then use that, right? Same time. So that will be quick. I mean, Jod not going to take too much time, right? One class will be okay. So yeah, so we have this. What we're going to do is now test this, right? So if I'm going to send this now, right? Same information, send. Look at here. So ID 4. See, I get ID 4, right? The name is this, email is this, password is this, created ad, updated ad. See that? Let me add one more, right? So John, maybe second, and John 2, right? 2, and send it. See, ID 5, John 2 is sent. Let's make it John 3, and here I change the email John 3 and password same. So John 3, right? Okay, so I'm just sending some data, right, to the database. My API in this route is working perfectly. I'm getting the result back from the data stored in the database also, right? I'm getting that back to my client, right, in the client side. I want to check my database now. Let's go back and do that. So what I will do, I'm just going to create new terminal here, and remember npx prisma studio, right? Studio, and run that. So if you go back now here, so see that in my table, right, inside the database, I just added the 4 John David, whatever, John 2, John 3, right? And all information is here. So this password is open. We don't store password like this, right? This will be encrypted with JSON, I believe, what was that, JSON web, not JSON web token, right? uh, just I just forgot the name. Okay, but we can encrypt this, right? We can encrypt this with the one of the application. So we will check that also. So that when you encrypt, there will be like lot long number, right? Something, maybe some hash symbol, whatever mixed up, right? So people cannot figure out easily what is that password. And if even if they will get that encrypted password, right, they will be not able to use, because you have to decrypt and compare with your password and see if that matches, right? Then only it will allow someone to log in or do whatever. So that's the reason for encrypting, right, the password. Okay, so this working, right? We just posted now. The next thing is how you're gonna read this, right? Display. So there is two way you can do. Either in nextjs, right? Either you can write the function. Let's see. Either we can just write the API, right, to get something like here. You just write function, right, to get something. Or nextjs makes more easy, like where you need the data, right? Just go to that page, the view right here. I'm gonna need the data, correct, to display. So I will just and this is my page, right, to display the data. So I'll just import now, import Prisma from a client, and then I have to make this function async, simple enough, and then const users equal to await Prisma dot user, right? From users table, give me all, right? Find many. That's it. Okay, you get all data, right, stored here. So you check now. If no user found, right, just check it one time. Okay, then just return not found, not found or something page there. This is built in error page, right, inside the next page. So this will just run automatically, not found page. Okay, so let's say if there is a user now you want to display, right? So we just go here inside our return part, and you know how to display, right, data. So here we're gonna map it now. So users dot map, and there will be single user, each user, right, you're gonna get from the array. And then okay, let's put the list of item, right, li, and inside here display the name, right, name, yeah. So how you going to display the name? You call it user dot name, because user is inside here, right? You call it like that. Okay, and then you have to give the key also, right? Key for each item. So that will be user has id, right? So let's give that one, user dot id. That's it. And then if you want more item, just put it here, no problem. So see, it can only return one item, right? It cannot return many. So you might have to put in the div box or maybe fragment like that. Okay, so username and user email, you can do that. I don't need id, right, in the second one. So I think I did something wrong, right? Yeah, because see what happened, it will be returning something every time, right? As a one user, one return. Okay, so let's do this, div, and then make a key right here. Or maybe why not you make ul, okay, ul, and they give a key equal to uh, user id, right, user dot id. Okay, better, and then put here ul. Now every time we're gonna return one ul, right, and it's gonna have that username and email. Even you can put a class name here, right, and give it some style, flex gap of 2 or 3, and border, let's make it bottom, right, like that. Okay, make it max width of LG. That's it. Fine. So if I save this now, right, and then we're done. Let's go back and check our site. So that is localhost. So remember the route localhost 3000 slash users, right? Users slash view, correct? View. And look at that. So I get the first user Robert Welker with this email ID, user one with this email ID, John David this email ID. So I can read this easily, right? That was the border below for every user, some CSS, flex, and all that, right? So you know, uh, it's okay, right? I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? Not a problem. But you see, yeah. So even you can, let's add some CSS here, right? Class name, let's make it BG purple 300 and add some padding, right? Padding of maybe 2. So all your username looks like this now. Look at that, right? Very good. So we learn how to fetch data, right? Even you can get one data also. If you just need one data, right? Somewhere, let's say you need one user with ID. If you have given ID, right? 1, 2, 3 like that, you can get to one user. You just have to pass here, uh, find unique, right? There is some different, there is different prisma dot user dot find many find unique, right? Like that, and you just pass here the clause. Okay, where, remember where clause, where id, where, right? Basically where id colon maybe for something, right? Whatever id you're gonna pass, and it will just give you that particular user with that id. Okay, so I mean, yeah, so this is how it works, right? Fine. It's just little bit of practice, not that difficult. You see, I have not done too much work, right? It's very simple stuff, but it's difficult to remember all these things in the beginning, I'm telling you. That's why during our project, we gonna take good time, right, and memorize all these steps, everything. One project, you guys should be like, even you sleeping, right, it should be running in your head all the time. So that's what, let's do that right together. Okay, that will boost your confidence to apply for a job. Trust me. And then you need to master JavaScript, like a lot of revision with JavaScript, HTML, CSS, some design stuff, and then keep moving with the complex more project, couple of more project, right? We're gonna do. And also DevOps. Maybe DevOps will be like a month, 1 month class, and maybe 2 to 3 weeks, right? Like mostly with the hosting, how to use Dockers, how you're gonna clone some other people like free, like let's say open source code, right? And then you want to contribute there, how you're gonna make some changes, right? Things like that we're gonna do during our DevOps classes. But there will be lot things to learn, but it's okay. We will figure out that. Okay, so next one is, so we did what? Added the user to the database. We fetch the data also, right? Like get the data. So you can even write the separate function, right? Sometimes, let's say, finding user by ID or finding all user, right? All the time. If that function, this function is used all the time, right? Then we, like what we do, we just create separate folder and we just write that function there, right? And just call it, export from there, and we just call that function, find user by ID, get all user, something like that, right? And that function will do the job. We don't have to write all these things long one of it, like a couple of line everywhere, right? Just one function and work is done. So that is more optimized, right? But here it's okay. Next, let me close this. So now let's say update. I want to update, right? How are we going to do that? So update is same like post, right? Same like this. So here we're gonna just write, but you're gonna update something, right, with the ID. Remember that you're gonna do something like this because you're gonna send, right? See how the update gonna work. Let's see, there is post, maybe paths is the update, right? Path. Let me delete the get path, and there is delete. So should be users, right, like that, and then users slash. Okay. So you're gonna, I mean, you can, let's see how you're gonna do, right? We have to think a little bit. So you have API users. I don't know. Yeah, so API users, right? New. This is the new, right? I mean, you posted here. If you want to update, you just put API slash users uh, with the ID right here. So how you gonna grab the ID, right? Remember, like this. Just make it ID here, right? And then now the ID will be stored in this variable, the ID here. I mean this name ID, right? No matter what ID you send, will be grabbed by this folder. So this folder must have that route dot right, TypeScript. So if right, so I have API user slash ID. See, my route will be API localhost 3000 slash API slash users slash maybe 4, right? And users, and inside the users there is a square bracket with ID. So this 4 will be the ID. So ID equal to 4, right? So I have access to this number 4, and I will gonna use this 4 to get the user for that 4 ID, and then I'm gonna update that and send back to the database. So that is the story, right? So here later we're gonna send some information, right? Name, email. Okay, we're just gonna update the name and email, right? Okay, we're just gonna do the name and email update. So yeah, so that is fine. JSON, that is okay, right? So just leave this one. First, let's write our API. So import, I'm just gonna copy a couple of things, okay? So I'll just copy all this, even this one, right? Even this, all from here, even all that one. So that is closed. I just need to close that function, write this function. So here is what, not post, but patch. Update is work with the patch, PATCS, right? Patch. So this will be same. You have to keep this one to in order to grab the data we send from our postman or front end. Okay, and then you're gonna check if there is data or not. If no data, return that. Else, okay. So now the next thing is, right, because remember in this route you have ID to grab. So that ID should be some, we call it params, right? Yeah, I think params. I think we learned about this right before, params. And we have to validate now, because remember, if you're getting data from outside, you must validate that. So what is that params now, right? The params is basically uh, params is an object, right? So I will write params. Params is object, and that object has ID, and that ID is number, right? Number. Yeah. I don't know if I did something wrong. Okay, so params is declared, but it's value never used, right? Fine. So now we have params, right? Params is basically the object, that this object. with ID, and that ID is number. I don't know if I write correctly or not, but I think that is okay. Yeah, I believe that should be fine. PARAMS, right? Yeah, params here. Okay, that matches now. So let's see. I need to get the first. I will check if this ID user is inside the database or not. That is what I need to do now. First, when you have to do something, right? Like if you have to check if something is already there or not, because you are planning to update inside the database. The first job is to check if that user is inside the database or not. So how are you going to do that? Const, right? I'll say user equal to aware, and same thing, Prisma is our friend now. Prisma dot find Prisma dot who user, right? User table dot find unique this time, right? And where where clause, and you pass that check if ID is params dot id. So from params, this is the object with ID, right? So object dot id is stored in this ID, and that is already number. Okay, so this is a number, right? Yeah, this will be. I think something is not correct. This ID is a number, but remember when we get something from the params, right? That will be string. So we need to convert that. We'll see if we get error. We'll check, right? But that ID is basically string, right? And then later you have to convert it here. We'll see. If not, we can put here string, right? Because anything you're getting from the route, like from the route, right? That is string. So that ID is string right now. Okay, but here what we're gonna do is, because it will not accept a string. Our ID inside the database is number. So I'll just make a number here, convert that to the number, right? And then pass this. Then it is okay. So I believe it should do the job now, right? Because this params is the object with ID, that is string, that is okay. But now we just convert it to the number when sending to the database. So we're gonna get user now, right? We will check now. If no user, then what you gonna do, right? Just return something, So just return this error message, right? No user found, right? No user found. Okay, and status maybe 400, 401, something like that. So if there is a, let's say if no user, you return is finished, right? The story is closed. But if there is user now, so what we're gonna do now? We're gonna update, right? So const, now same thing, updated user equal to await, and you're gonna call again Prisma is our friend, Prisma dot user. So user table, inside the user table, we're gonna do I think, let's see, update, right? Yeah, update, let's do that. So now here, we need to pass couple of parameter, right? So the first one is where, you have to give it where id is user.id, because now we know there is a user. Okay, that's why we get here, right? So id, where id is user.id. So why this error, right? Comma, and then you're gonna pass the data now, right? Updated data. So that data will be the data from this one. Remember, we send the new data from here now, right? So the 4 I'm going to change to my name, update, right? Like that. Okay, and then test, maybe test whatever 4. Okay, let's call it 4. So once we have done this, let's call it so what we're going to do now, right? So we are updating something. So see, there is two things now, right? Either you're gonna update everything, or you're just gonna update something, right? So something is, for now I'll just put it name, and that will be body dot name, and then email, right? Email. Let's update these two things, okay? Email. So once update is done, you can, it will give you back, right, that information from the database. So you return that. So that will be same like here. Just copy that, okay, and then you change this to the updated user data. Okay, let's see if this work, right? So we're gonna now, so we should, if everything okay, we should get that here, right? So let's try send. Okay, so 4 now is the information. For id 4 name is this Brahma dev update and test 4 and whatever the password from before and all that, right? We get back. So if I refresh the, see right now the whatever is the 4 number, right? I don't know which one is that, like 2 3 4, maybe this one, right? There the information should be changed. Okay, I will refresh and look at that, this table. Okay, so this is updated now, right? So it is working. Okay, so what we have done now so far, created, post, get the data, right, display, then update also. Now the last one is delete, right? So delete, you're going to delete something with the same id. For example, you want to delete this 4, right? So how are you going to do that? So for that, you're going to have this delete route, uh, path delete, right? So here will be delete. This one has path, right? Here delete, and then you're going to send users, and inside the users we have that id, right? Id. So that id, maybe let's say 4 you want to delete, correct? Id, but make sure it's match here. So and inside the users, right, we have this all route catching, all basically id route, right? Like that. If something is coming from params, okay, like you must put in this square bracket. So this is like a dynamic route, right? The id will be keep changing all the time in that route. Okay, so api users slash id, right? So in the same here, I'm gonna write the delete. The delete should be easy, right? Function export. Okay, you must do export. Export, what is that? Async, right? Async function. So that is delete, right? Delete, and you always put this one, okay, no matter what, right? Just add it. And also you're gonna need id, right? Which id you're gonna delete? Just copy that whole thing and put it here. Okay, so see, this is because we are using TypeScript, this validation must be done, right? You must check your data, because you getting, when you receive data from somewhere, you must check that. Okay, fine. So we're gonna call with the delete with that id. We have the id now. The first thing to do is check if that is there in the database or not, right? So I will do this part here. I will check if that user is in the database or not. Okay, so await Prisma user find unique where id equal to this one, right? If no user, then return this status, no user found, right? Else, just await, and then Prisma dot user dot delete, right? Delete, and then here you're gonna uh, pass the parameter, right, where id is what, params not params, right? Basically from the user, not from the params. Send it from the user here, okay? Whatever you get the user, right? User yeah, user dot id. That's it. You just have to await, right? So I mean, you don't need anything what you're deleting, right? I mean, if you want, you can store in the variable and return that. If not, just leave it like that. It's okay. Just return the response. Next response dot json, right? And here we can send simple, maybe you can say like message, right? Like this. User is deleted, right? And then status success, right? So that will be 200 is okay, right? Status. So let's see. So I'm gonna send this 4, right? If everything okay, users. So there is missing API. Okay, I need to put API slash users slash ID, right? And send, and message user is deleted. Look at that. That message I get back. And if I go back here and refresh my data, so you don't see anymore that 4 is gone from here, right? That's how it works. If I want to delete, maybe let's say 6, I'll just send 6 and then send, and the user is deleted, right? So 6 is gone. If you refresh again, you're not gonna 6 here, right? So I mean, that's how you do the create API in the nextjs, right? API. We just finished CRUD operation. It might be overwhelming, like, oh, this is too much, right? It's okay. I'm telling you, during the project, we're gonna take time, every one API for one day, right? And you guys are gonna memorize it, but just like understand the big picture, right? How things is working, okay? How we communicating from client to the server and all that, right? And database connections, because Prisma is our friend now, okay? It's gonna help us to communicate with the database by just doing this code, right? It scans all the tables, like all the schema, right? And stored in the Prisma object. That's why we said Prisma dot user, maybe Prisma dot employee, Prisma dot whatever, right? So no matter how many schema you're gonna have here later, you have access all that inside this simple Prisma client object. Good to go. Okay, so that was all the backend, not backend. What do you call that? The basically CRUD operation and creating the API, right? So the last thing for today's second step, right? Almost a lot of time. Yeah, so let me just talk, right? And then maybe I will take a little bit, maybe 20-minute class tomorrow. There is a lot. So what we're gonna do is, what was that? What I said I want to teach next? Anyone remember? The UI, right? What was that? Redux. So what is Redux UI, right? See, start building your app now, right? See that nice components, things are built nice. All these things you can build with Redux UI, right? It looks good, So we learned the tailwind, right? So Redux UI, somebody smart people came up with the idea, right? They said, okay, I will put all the tailwind code together and build nice components, which people can use in their project, right? So they create the library of component. What is component now? The function which returns HTML. If this is the box, right, where displaying the information about this, whatever Emily email address, all that, right, information, you can have like view, profile, change role, remove, if I need this component, I can just use it, right, easily. I can search here, look for Jack JSC, like that, or invite, whatever, so this will not work, but I mean, you get the idea, right? So this is the ready-made component you can use. So get How you gonna use this? Very easy. Click on get started, and first we just have to install this, right? Install this. I'll just quickly show you. Okay, 5 minutes will be enough. So I'm gonna stop this local server for the database. So install that, right, in your inside your project. First step, install that, and okay. So next step is it says import. The first one is install this theme, right? Redux theme. We did that. You said just copy this CSS, right, and put in your global CSS. So copy that, and I need to find my global CSS here, and it says what, import the global CSS file and at the root of your application. So where is the root? Not here, right? But my root is layout. This is the root of my application. I'll just put here. Okay, good. Now it says add the theme now, right? Theme inside your application. So either you can wrap it all the body or just put inside the body, right? Okay. So I just need to import this theme now. So now I can import just below that, and here is the body, right? So inside the body I might gonna have like nav bar, footer, all that, right? But does not matter. I will put inside here theme, right? And then close this children. So see, I just import theme, right? Theme here, and that is all we have to do now, right? So once you do that, uh, it should work now, right? So let's see, refresh. I mean, there is slight change, I believe, in the font, whatever, but I want to add now, right? The button on the top of this, and just call it like add new user, right? And that user, that when you click the button, it will send us to the user new page. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to use this Redux UI button, right? So here I'll close all that now. I don't need. So I'm repeating this, right? This one I'm repeating. So here what I will do, maybe just create the button. So import button. See that now I get access to all these things. Button from Redux theme, right? I can do that. I can import the link also, to import link, right? Also. So I'm gonna call the button here, button, right? And call the link because I need to go somewhere. Then in that case, I need to use the link also. Button will be just to make it nice, right? So use as children, as child. The link, I need to give that route now, where to go, right? Oh, what happened? God, it just keep messing up, right? Let's see. Href is missing. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to add, but why just keep href and slash. So I'm going to go to the localhost 3000 slash users slash new, right? New folder. Okay, and then we're gonna add the text here, like add new user, right? I mean, this one I'm just showing, right, how you're gonna use this library. Okay, so look at this. On the top you get that button, add new user. Let me give some. You can also add now, right? It's easy. I mean, just add any class name here, does not matter. So class name, I will say margin, right? Margin y-axis top and bottom maybe 5, and margin x make it 4, right? Like that. Save, and if I refresh, uh, something is not correct, right? So, oh, yeah, it's okay. It should work. What happened? So maybe my server is not running now. It's okay. So that button. Oh, okay. The problem is this div also, right? So let me give some class name here, but it should work, guys. I don't know why it didn't work. Class name, and I'll just put mx maybe 4 and my 5, right? 5. Yeah. So this did not work. That's some surprise. It should added some gap below and top right of this box. So button as a child, class name. So what I can do, right? Even I can see that this one already have style. Okay. If you just look for the component, what component you want to use, they have everything: box, flex, grid, container. This ready-made component we can use, right? I need to look for a button. Let's see, button here. So if you go here as a child, you can use that size. You can give the size, right? Size for the button, variant, colors. You can add radius, loading, the gap, align center. So there is different like margin, top, button, everything for here, right? So let me see. If I say you can add size also, right? Size maybe. Uh, let's make it 3. Then margin top. Can we do that? Let's see if it work. Okay. Maybe because it has own style, like no need class name, right? And margin maybe bottom. Let's give it a 5 also. Okay, it worked, right? So you can see now. So when I click this button, it should take me to the user's new page, right? So here I will have the form to add the user. I mean, but I just show you, right, how to use Redux UI. Very simple. You just want to use whatever you want to use, right? Just call the component. Let's say you want to have the alert or maybe avatar, right? Or badge avatar. So what kind of avatar you need, you know, just call it, right? Just call this. So how it will work? See all this component, flex, avatar, all these things you have to import. So if I just take this, right? Just take this, and what I will do is I will just put it below the button. Okay, I'm gonna add div, right? One div, and just put it inside here. So it says import all this, like you missing the flex avatar, right? So you have to go back here and import that avatar. Then you import flex from the Redux UI theme, right? That's it. No, I don't need that. Just flex. Okay, and then the error is gone. So yeah, so that is good enough, right? Let's see. I mean, you can add in the box here, right? You can add some like margin top and bottom. Margin Y, maybe give it 4. Let's check now, and we have to go to the view, right? View. So look at that. So you have this, right? Even you can make it rounded avatar, like something like here. This one, right? You can make that also. So you just give it the like size 1. Let's make it size 1. Fallback A. Then uh, how to make a round, right? There should be something. It should have the class name, right? So let's check now. If you want to make something round, radius, okay, here is the radius, right? So full. So that will give us the rounded, okay. So if I the first one, if I go and call the radius, and then you call the full, right, and it will be like a rounded full, remember from before, and it should look like this. Look at that, the first one, right? So it's ready to use components. We're going to learn during our project, right? So no matter what you want to use, just easy to use, okay. Here is the example also, right? Okay guys, any question, I will stop here, okay.